Hey guys, this is my video on my experience of BPD, which is borderline personality disorder. Obviously it's a very stigmatized disorder as it's not very well known and it's part of your personality, so it's really stigmatized obviously because you kind of can't, it's not like a mental illness, or it is a mental illness but it's not seen as one, so it's quite stigmatized as I just said. Yeah, it's obviously quite a solid diagnosis really. Yeah, I got diagnosed by the psychiatrist from inpatient, and then I was also diagnosed by the home treatment team who also diagnosed me, and then my community psychiatrist and my psychologist that I see weekly for DBT, and then I also have group DBT, which is even more fun. Yeah. I'm currently taking medication for it. I take olanzapine 5 milligrams every evening at 10 o'clock. Yeah, the symptoms I'll go into, and I'll tell you what symptoms I have and like how it affects me really. Firstly, it says BPD is one of the many personality disorders listed in the manuals used by doctors when they're giving someone a psychiatric diagnosis. It says a doctor might diagnose you with borderline personality disorder if you have 5 or more symptoms, and if the symptoms have a significant impact on your everyday life. The first symptom is you have emotions that are up and down, for example, feeling confident one day and feeling despair another, with feelings of emptiness and often anger. That's like me altogether. Like I can be really happy and really like on top of the world, everything's amazing. Like people compare it to mania, but it's obviously not mania because it's BPD, but you just feel so amazing and you feel like the world's just amazing and there's nothing that can push you down and you just feel amazing. Like you can't describe unless you're happy BPD, because it's excessive happiness. Like your moods just swing. And then obviously I have like some days I feel like despair and I feel really suicidal because I can't cope with everything. I get so upset and I'm crying constantly, and I'm like my mood can switch in like an hour or like a minute. Like I can be really happy and then I can get really angry at someone because of some little thing. Like mostly when I feel really unloved by someone, or if I feel like I'm a bad person, or just generally lots of different things can trigger it really. Obviously, yeah, with BPD, your environment affects your emotions. So whereas different to bipolar, because bipolar is chemical imbalance, whereas like BPD, it's like your emotions like trigger your environment triggers your emotions. Yeah, and then feelings of emptiness and anger. So I can feel really empty and hollow, and there's nothing of me. I don't feel like myself. I just don't feel anything. Like I just feel really empty, which is not a nice feeling at all. And obviously I get really angry and I throw things and I scream and I shout, and it's not pleasant to be around me when I'm like that. The second one is, do you find it difficult to make and maintain relationships? This is due to idealization and devaluation. Idealization is when you love someone, you think they're the best person in the world and they're amazing and nothing can do them wrong. But as soon as they do something wrong or do something that you don't like, as such, they can become the worst person in the world. You can hate them, you can like want to kill them. You just don't like them at all, and it's just awful. My main problem with relationships is my fear of abandonment, but I'll go on about that in a minute. The third one is you have an unstable sense of identity, such as thinking differently about yourself depending on who you're with. I'm not really like this one. This one isn't really me because I'm myself usually, but I do have an unstable sense of self in the way that I change what I want to do career-wise, and like job-wise, and that's the same, but I change what I want to do constantly. Like I've worked in a cafe, I worked at Waitrose, I worked with children, disabled children. I want to do social work now. I now want to do Samaritans, which is all similar really. And I want to do art, and I want to do writing, and like silly things. I just think I can do all these things, and then I think nothing that ties in with that is in my impulsivity. I apply for things, and now I know I'm not well enough, but I apply for it anyway because I get so like, it's like when you're manic, it's like you just think everything's amazing, which is like emotions when you're really up, like you just think everything's amazing, you can do everything, and it's not fun when you have that. The next day you're like crying your eyes out and you're like really angry. It's a constant roller coaster with BPD. You take risks or do things without thinking about consequences. Basically, if someone offered me a drug, like someone offered me cocaine or ecstasy or anything, I take it. Like I wouldn't think differently. I also do this with like taking tablets. Like I go through stages of overdosing on like codeine and like lorazepam and stuff like that. Because I don't think about the consequences, and then I end up in hospital and I don't think I'm like shit. Like, a lot of my overdoses are very impulsive. Yeah, I don't necessarily want to die all the time, but in that moment I'm like, oh, let's die, and I don't care about anyone else or anything. I just want to die in that moment, which is often the same with suicide and how people feel. But it's different with BPD because you're very impulsive and you don't care, and well, you do care, but you don't in the moment. It's really difficult to explain. I don't know. Someone might explain it better than me because obviously I'm quite shit at explaining things. But yeah. Next one is you harm yourself or think about harming yourself. For example, cutting yourself or overdosing. Yeah, that's me. I overdose a lot, and I've taken, I don't know how many overdoses I've taken, about 8 in about 3 months, so it's quite a lot. Yeah, I got hospitalised for 3 times as well. So, you fear being abandoned or rejected or being alone. When I'm alone, I get panic attacks because I don't like being alone and I hate it, and I get really paranoid that people are like in my house and stuff. And it's not very pleasant. I don't know if that's BPD or not. So yeah. You fear being abandoned or rejected. This is one of the reasons I don't get into relationships with people, because I can't cope with the abandonment and rejection at the end. It makes me feel really suicidal, so I can't cope with it. Like it just, and when I think like my friends pushing me away or they don't want to talk to me or something, I push them away. So I just say nasty things to them and I'm really mean to them, so hoping they'll leave me alone and not talk to me. And this guy was trying to get close to me, and obviously I like drugs, and he was like, yeah, come get high with me and everything. And I was just like, I don't want you, you're horrible. I was really, really, really mean to him, and because I can't deal with the fear of abandonment, and I'm so scared. Like, I'm scared my parents will leave me, and like I'm moving to I'm saying a lot. I'm moving to this new place, and obviously I won't be near my mum and my parents, and I'm just scared that I'll get really suicidal because something will happen, and it just won't be pleasant, basically. The next one, you sometimes believe in things that are not real or true, called delusions, or see or hear things that aren't not really there. I have hallucinated before. I saw my dad's face in those cars, and then his face would merge into the actual person driving the car. But my psychiatrist said that's due to paranoia, and he thinks it's a protective factor, so that I don't like commit suicide or something. That's what he said, but I still think it's part of BPD, but I don't know. And also, like when I stood at a road, like because I was really suicidal at that point, I stood at a road, waiting to cross the road, and I heard a voice say, "Don't do it." So I don't know if that's anything or not, but yeah, I've said that to my psychiatrist. If you've been diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, you may be likely to experience other mental health related problems such as depression, anxiety, eating disorders, or substance misuse. I used to be quite bad with substance misuse. I used to take codeine and drugs. I still do like smoke weed and stuff, but not as much as I used to. I used to do like 5 times a week. Yeah, and I've also had depression, which I had a really bad stint of it in January. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't shower. I couldn't eat. Couldn't go out. I couldn't get my house. I was so anxious. I couldn't leave my house. I was really suicidal and everything. And yeah, it just wasn't fun at all. And obviously, I have generalized anxiety disorder, which is when I worry about everything all the time, and it's just not very fun. Yeah. It also says here BPD is thought to affect less than 1% of the general population. It's been estimated that 3/4 of those given diagnosis are women. It's a condition that's usually diagnosed in adults only. Oh yeah, to have BPD you have to be over 18, because obviously when you're young your personality is still developing. And yeah, but like 16, 17 you can be diagnosed with emerging borderline personality disorder, which I know people that have been diagnosed with that. But then, I don't know, it's quite a difficult diagnosis to do. Obviously, a lot of people get diagnosed with bipolar before they get diagnosed with BPD, because the symptoms are kind of similar, and well, yeah, like impulsive spending is similar to bipolar. Yeah, they overlap. So I got diagnosed with bipolar before I got diagnosed with BPD. I obviously don't have bipolar now, but my A&E notes say bipolar. So yeah, on eating disorders, I had anorexia in like January. Obviously, I'm a lot better with food now because I'm on medication I'm on, but I had that, and I didn't eat 10 days and things like that. So yeah, I restricted a lot, and yeah, there's lots of people that deal with eating disorders and BPD, and then also bipolar goes with BPD as well. So it's like comorbid disorders and stuff really. I think that's it now. I've kind of gone on and on and on about BPD and how it affects me and all that malarkey. So yeah. Okay. Bye guys. Love you all.